new bracket fitted. So we're now on the black revised version of this bracket. And I've soldered a couple of wires on. These are silicone wires, so they're pretty flexible, and terminated the ends into a 4-pin JST plug, and that'll be ready to plug into the motor driver boards. It's all clamped in there nicely. I did shoot some silicone oil onto the gears prior to installing the motor, so it's all lubed up, and I installed the steering rod just to check the alignment to make sure that the motor is square in its housing. So I can remove this now. This is already pre-wired, ready to fit the nano board. So I've soldered in the header pins into the nano board to line the output pins to the input pins on the motor drivers. I did cover the standby jumper wires in a previous video, so the only addition really is this plug. And the PWM pin on this driver is bridged across to pick up the standby pin as well. So that this literally is just an H bridge. So the PWM signal, or the speed of the motor, is controlled on this little one here, which is the servo driver. The motor driver boards are sat in the channels, and I've got this clamp between the two boards that hold the boards in situ. This plug here will be for the servo driver mechanism, so there's a 2-pin plug there. These wires going away will eventually connect up to the nano. Got the voltage regulator and the power distribution board in situ, so the voltage regulator here, a 3 amp, and from that we're powering up the motor driver boards. So there's dual power on that. We've got the ground, the 5-volt logic voltage, and the white is the battery voltage, whether it be a 2 or 3 cell. So the pins here would be connection for the nano. I should be going across the 2 outside pins. I've got to connect the servo motor up and the beacon light, which will be 5 volts, and I've got the main drive motor connected up through onto the motor driver board, and I've also got the steering motor, which goes around and down underneath there, with his output shaft coming out here. So the next step will be to connect the nano into this multi-plug here, and then power it up from the distribution board, which is those pins there. So that plugs into there and then plugs into there, and that will connect the receiver, so all the signals from the radio will be sent to here. From here it's sent to the nano, and the nano processes the stick movements and then sends a signal out on these pins to the appropriate motor drivers. So the test that I can do while it's in this situation, and it's outside of the main chassis, would be the test the drive motor to make sure that it turns in the right direction to the stick movement. I can also plug in the skip on the front, plug that in, test that, and the turntable to test that, and that makes sure that the motor drivers are actually functioning and that the motors are turning in the right direction. So from here then I'll plug this in, power it all up and see what response we get from the drive motor. Plug the battery in. Okay, bring in the radio again, switch on the radio and bind. Okay, so forwards is forwards, that's right, going by that, so that is facing the front, so that's okay. Just reverse. Okay, nice one. Now we can try the skip, the tip ram and the turntable. So I'll get the front half out and connect it through a minute. Okay, so I've put the front section on a temporary stand just to hold it there steady for a minute. I just want to test the two motors that's in the front that control the skip tip and the rotation. So it's all a bit precarious at the moment, but what I need to do is this be the plug that comes in from the front end, and I shall connect it into the motor driver. So these plugs only fit in one way. That's them in there. Now if I connect the battery up, so it's in powered up there. Hopefully I've got everything in shot. So if I turn on the radio, bind it up, so we've got radio signal coming in. Go back to our power, so the drive motor. Yeah, that's all good to go. So that's okay. Now on this side we've got the tip. So if I push that forward, there we go. That's it. So he's up against his limit switch. So that's okay. Now the left and right, I can move left and that will rotate the turntable. Okay, to his limit. Turn him back. That's it. So there's these limits. Bring that back to centre somewhere, and then return the tip. that's all working in the right order. So yeah, everything's good to go. So all that's left now is to fit this assembly into the main frame.